Hello, joyful viewers. Joel Fuhrman, MD, will discuss promoting optimal health through a plant-based lifestyle. Dr. Fuhrman, a highly regarded family practitioner in the United States, specializing in the prevention and reversal of obesity and other diseases through nutrition and natural therapies, has appeared on many American radio and TV shows and written several books on nutrition, including the bestsellers Eat to Live, Disease Proof Your Child, Cholesterol Protection for Life, and Eat for Health. Dr. Fuhrman believes there is a constructive way to reduce serious health conditions caused by unwise food choices.
Fast food companies and processed foods are spreading all over the world, and people are becoming more overweight, more obese, having more heart attacks, more diabetes, more strokes, and even more cancer. The good news is that nutritional science has advanced to the point where we can have people not have heart attacks. We can win the war against cancer. We can stop people from having strokes, and as they become more elderly, they don't have to become demented in their later years. The secrets that we've learned to protect ourselves have to do with nutrients. And there are two types of nutrients. There are macronutrients, and the macronutrients contain calories, and those are called fat, carbohydrate, and protein. And if you eat too many macronutrients, too much fat, too much carbohydrate, and too much protein, we can become overweight, and we can promote aging and promote heart attacks and strokes. Now, food also contains micronutrients, and micronutrients do not contain calories. They're things like vitamins and minerals and phytochemicals.
The human body needs only tiny amounts of micronutrients, but their role in ensuring health is inestimable.
About 80 years ago, in 1930, scientists first discovered 14 vitamins and about 20 different minerals, and everybody said, wow, this is great. We could help people live longer and help people be much healthier. And what happened between 1935 and 2005 is that heart attack rates went up all over the world, stroke rates went up, and cancer rates went up every single year for 70 years straight. We didn't realize until about 15 years ago that the third type of micronutrients, called phytochemicals, were missing, because the third type of micronutrients, called phytochemicals, are not found in processed foods, and they're not found in animal products, but they're found in fruits and vegetables. So when we thought that we could take processed foods and add a few vitamins and minerals to it, or take a vitamin supplement and think we're getting enough, we were mistaken. Because now we know that every tomato has 1,000 different nutrients in it. Every head of cabbage, every piece of lettuce, every cucumber, every bean or berry or sprout has hundreds, even thousands of nutrients that are so important to protect our precious health. So if we sum up what we've learned in the last 15 years in the field of nutritional science, we've realized that we have to eat a diet that's very high in nutrients, very high in micronutrients, including not just the ones we discovered 70 years ago, but all the new nutrients that we're discovering, all the new findings, that full symphony of nutrients we're finding that exists in natural fruits and vegetables, beans, nuts, and seeds. We actually have to eat real food, and these superfoods could protect us against chronic, degenerative, and dangerous diseases, preventing medical tragedies.
The following is Dr. Fuhrman's definition of a healthy diet.
We have to eat a diet high in nutrients and lower in calories. A healthy diet has to be plant-based. Most of what we eat has to get these phytochemicals from natural plant foods. The issue is we're not getting enough micronutrients. That's why people are becoming overweight. That's why people are becoming diabetic, and that's why people are dying of heart attacks. Now, nutritional science has advanced to the point where people don't have to have these diseases. And instead of going to doctors and getting pills to take to lower your blood pressure, and instead of taking medications to take away chest pains, and then having surgeries on people's hearts or procedures to make the heart to allow the blood to flow better, those don't make people live longer. The most powerful intervention The most powerful medicine is what you can do in your own home, in your own kitchens, in your own gardens, and what you can do with your own life to protect your precious health. It's not what doctors can do for you with medications and surgeries. What I'm saying today is that we all are in this together. If we all eat a diet, which we call it a plant-based, high-nutrient diet, we look to eat more of the foods that are highest in nutrients. And the foods that are highest in nutrients, including these micronutrients I'm talking about, are green vegetables. Green vegetables win the awards because they have more nutrients per calorie than any other food. Now take a piece of broccoli or some cabbage or kale that also is high in protein, because don't forget, green vegetables are high in protein. That's how come gorillas, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, elephant, and giraffes get so big, because they eat green vegetables, they eat a lot of protein. And green vegetables are high in protein. But here you have the protein packaged with lots of micronutrients, with the phytochemicals, with the antioxidants, with the things that make the body age slower, and we keep our youthfulness, our vigor, and our good health into later years.
Dr. Fuhrman now gives us tips on how to choose high-nutrient foods.
Number one is beans. Beans like kidney beans, navy beans, lentils, split peas. Number two, green vegetables. To be on a healthy diet, we have to eat some raw vegetables and some cooked vegetables. We have to eat green vegetables. Lettuce, salad, cucumbers, cabbage, the broccoli family, all those green vegetables have specific compounds that have been shown to protect against breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, and of course heart attacks and strokes. They're longevity-producing foods. If we mix the greens and the beans now with nuts and seeds, right? Almonds, cashews, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, they have almost magical superfoods, protective compounds that prevent against cardiac arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats. They lower your cholesterol. They make people live longer. They prevent sudden cardiac death. They stabilize the brain. And the healthy fats in seeds and nuts increase the absorption of nutrients from the vegetables and the beans. They also make the protein very complete. So it's not about just eating less fat. It's eating about more of the whole food healthy fats from nuts and seeds. Also, fresh fruit. Fresh fruit like oranges and berries and kiwis also contains various compounds, phenols and anthocyanins, special compounds that protect against various cancers and are important for good health. And lastly, of course, whole grains like sorghum, wild rice, brown rice, whole grain rices, whole oats, whole barley. Think whole grains, not processed white flour, not white rice and white flour, but using more whole grains. We have to appeal to our governors and our government, our educators and our teachers and our farmers. We have to all work together as a team to bring healthy food into the schools, to bring healthy plant foods into our homes. In America today, about 30% of the American diet is animal products, and about 60% is processed foods. 60% plus 30% means 90% of the diet are either processed foods or animal products. What's left over is 10% of fruits and vegetables, and half of that is white potato, and the other 3 or 4% is whole grains. The amount of really green vegetables and red vegetables and orange vegetables and tomatoes and berries and beans and nuts and seeds is a very tiny percent of the diet. No wonder we have a heart attack, a cancer epidemic. People try to diet, they try to cut back on calories and eat less food, and most of the time it doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work is because the quality of the nutrients they're consuming are not adequate. In other words, they're eating a diet with so much processed foods and so many animal products and so much sugar and so much salt and so much soda drinks and things that aren't healthy, then they try to eat less. They keep craving to eat more food, and because you become addicted, you become a food addict. I call this toxic hunger. And toxic hunger means a raving desire to overeat. 2 hours later, after they just ate, they already start to feel shaky and weak again. They have to eat again. What I'm saying is the poor nutritional quality of their diet and all the unhealthy foods they're eating causes them to become a food addict.
According to Dr. Fuhrman, the state of toxic hunger is similar to tobacco or alcohol addiction.
If you're drinking 10 cups of coffee a day, or you're smoking cigarettes, and you try to stop smoking or stop drinking, you'll feel sick, you'll feel ill. Well, people eat so unhealthy that they try to stop eating, they feel ill. They can't tolerate not overeating, otherwise they don't feel well enough. So trying to be healthy and trying to lose weight is not just about eating less food, it's about eating more of healthy, high-nutrient foods. Eating more of the right food is the method in which you could more comfortably eat less of the wrong foods.
Dr. Fuhrman further explains the mechanism behind food addiction.
Why people overeat and crave food. It has to do with the way the body functions, because when you eat a meal, the body takes in those calories and stores those calories in the form of glycogen in the liver and muscle tissue. So now when we're not eating food, we could burn off that glycogen and keep our glucose curve flat. So now that we're not eating, just like the wick of a candle burns down the wax, we could slowly burn off that glycogen. When we're living off glycogen and not off the food we just ate, because we finished digesting, that's when the body is breaking down tissue, and it can more effectively repair and detoxify. We're breaking down fat, we're breaking down glycogen, and the body is releasing toxins. Now, if you were eating a diet that was very low in nutrients, if you didn't meet your micronutrient needs, you would have built up more toxic waste products in your body. Toxic waste like free radicals, like advanced glycation end products called AGEs. We actually build up congestion in the cells. And then when we don't eat, and we're in this period called glycolysis, we're living off glycogen, people don't like the way they feel because they were so toxic. They feel shaky, they feel irritable, they feel anxious, they can feel headachy. But eating stops the detoxification. It's just like eating can stop the coffee withdrawal headache. You can have another cup of coffee to feel better, or you can eat a meal to feel better. But feeling better isn't getting better. Feeling worse is getting better. Just see, the body is removing the toxins when you're not eating, and it makes you not feel uncomfortable. So what we're saying here is that when you eat a diet high in green vegetables, when you eat a diet with beans and nuts and fresh fruit and berries, when you eat a diet full of natural foods, you don't build up free radicals. The body can keep the levels of toxins low. And then when you don't eat food, you no longer feel sickly. You don't have to eat. You're not forced to constantly overeat. Eating a nutritarian diet, eating a high-nutrient diet, is delicious. It tastes great. It's fun. It makes life more pleasurable. A person that's healthy and eating right won't feel as hungry. They won't feel the toxic hunger, the shakiness, the anxiety between meals. And then the magic thing happens. Because when glycolysis ends, when that glucose source is used up, we get real hunger, the healthy type hunger, and it's felt in your neck and throat. And it's associated with dramatic increases in taste. And now, the simplest foods taste great. So just imagine that you ate a real lot of food in a fancy buffet. And I found you there, I gave you an apple. You go, nah, I don't want this apple. It doesn't taste that good. But now try not eating for a whole day. And then take that same apple and say, well, that's the best apple I ever tasted in my life. Well, every meal can taste really better than you think. Every meal can be like the best meal you ever eat if you wait till you're hungry, truly hungry. Now, if you eat healthy enough, you're not going to feel like you have to eat as frequently. And you can wait longer until you have to eat, because you're not going to feel the toxic hunger. You'll only feel the true hunger when it signifies the time when your body really needs those calories and it's important for you to eat. So we're saying that eating a diet high in nutrients directs you to true hunger and the proper signals your body will give you to the right amount of calories you should eat. And then people wouldn't be overweight anymore. There would be no overweight people.
How does one plan a wholesome, nutritious diet? Dr. Fuhrman invented the simple formula H equals N over C as an aid.
H equals N over C is a formula that I invented about 10 or 15 years ago. H means your health, how long you're going to live and how healthy you're going to be in your later years, is proportional to the micronutrient per calorie density of your diet for most of your life. Now the N over C, the N refers to micronutrients. The micronutrients are vitamins, minerals, and phytochemicals, and the C refers to calories, like fat, carbohydrates, and proteins. The point is, we need to get more nutrient bang for each caloric buck. We need to eat as much nutrients as we can per calorie. Now to eat a diet with more micronutrients per calorie, we have to eat more foods that are higher in micronutrients and less foods that are lower in micronutrients. And that leads to the next question, which is, well, what foods are highest in micronutrients? Which foods have the most vitamins and minerals? And which foods have the most phytochemicals? And the good news is that the foods that are highest in the discovered nutrients are also the same that are highest in the undiscovered nutrients. The ones that are highest in vitamins and minerals also have the most phytochemicals, and all those things were newly discovered. And we're talking here that green vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, berries, beans, and seeds, those foods, are very high in micronutrients and give you a high nutrient per calorie density in your diet. And then you have a high nutrient density in your skin, in your kidney, in your liver, in your heart, in your blood vessels, and your brain. The body needs nutrients stored in its tissues to prevent oxidative stress. The word oxidative stress means heightened inflammation, heightened free radical activity that's caused by the low amount of micronutrients in the tissues themselves. So we're not going to get high micronutrients in our body unless we fuel or feed our body with a diet that's high in micronutrients.
Dr. Fuhrman also suggests using color as a guide to selecting wholesome foods.
And structured foods, so people know that green vegetables are the highest, and that the colorful vegetables like tomatoes and carrots and peppers are very high too. And the onion family is very high in nutrients. And berries are very high in nutrients, like blueberries and strawberries and blackberries, and all these berries are super high in nutrients. Kiwis are very high in nutrients. Oranges are high in nutrients. So typically it's the foods that have the most color. Remember, heart attacks are completely unnatural. Strokes are unnatural. No humans have to have heart attacks and strokes. Hundreds of years ago, they didn't exist. We've learned too much. We know how people can protect themselves today. Years ago, there was no diabetes around. It only happens because people become overweight. Your health is really dependent on what you can do in your own home, and those are your eating habits, your exercise habits, and your personal health habits. Proper nutrition is much more powerful than medication. When you take medication for high blood pressure, it lowers your systolic blood pressure, that's the first number, and it lowers your diastolic too. But as we get older, lowering the diastolic number is not favorable. Lowering the diastolic number actually can increase your risk of having an irregular heartbeat. When you lower your blood pressure with good nutrition and watching salt, it keeps the bottom number in a favorable range and the top number down so they're closer together. It doesn't separate it as much. In other words, there are things that drugs do that are not favorable. And so we really want to avoid the use of drugs as much as possible.
A vegan diet is naturally healing and reverses chronic diseases.
If a person eats a plant-based diet with lots of fruits and vegetables and no salt, their blood pressure will drop. Of course, exercise is important too. But we can lower people's blood pressure. We can lower their cholesterol. And the atherosclerosis, the blockages or obstructions in the heart, can melt away gradually, and then people's hearts can get better without angioplasty, stent placement, or bypass surgery. I have thousands of patients all over the world who become non-diabetic. Their diabetes goes away. Their high blood pressure goes away. Their chest pains go away. Their heart disease goes away. They don't need medicines and they don't need medical interventions. But most importantly, they don't have heart attacks. They don't have strokes. They live longer. They stay healthy and they stay in control of their health destiny, as opposed to just taking their medication.
What is the best strategy to ensure that we get all the nutrients we need? The Good Doctor has some sage advice.
We take a box of food from the supermarket and it says vitamin A 20% or it says some nutrient on it. And we realize that that's not adequate because we don't need more of the nutrients we're already getting too much of. We need more of what we're missing. And those boxes and cans don't show all the nutrients, all the different types of hundreds of nutrients that we don't get when we eat those foods. In other words, we can add a synthetic vitamin to a food, but if the food didn't have the full spectrum of all those thousands of other nutrients, it really is not a high nutrient food. When we take beta-carotene, lutein, lycopene, and other nutrients that are found naturally in a carrot or a sweet potato or an apple, we're not just getting that one nutrient, we're getting hundreds of other nutrients that come along for the ride that are so important. The key here is we need to get our nutrients from whole natural foods, not from and added to the ingredient in a packaged food. And the other point is when we're looking at nutrients in foods, we're saying that so many of these nutrients have been newly discovered and are not listed in analysis programs. For example, one of the most important nutrients we need to protect against cancer is called isothiocyanates. Isothiocyanates, also called ITCs. Now, ITCs are a very important nutrient protecting against cancer. They're found in green vegetables. They're formed in the mouth as you chew the vegetable. If you don't chew the vegetable and you swallow it whole, you don't form a lot of ITCs. A chemical reaction occurs as you break down the wall of that vegetable with your teeth. Now you could break it down with a juicer, with a blender, you could chop it. These compounds are anti-cancer effects. We're not going to get these compounds when we eat packaged foods. So yes, nutrients are very important, but we can't just think we're going to get the nutrients we need by taking the vitamin pill. We're not going to get everything. The only way we can get the full symphony, the full assortment of thousands of nutrients the human body needs for maximum health, is eating enough nutrient-rich, natural whole foods.
Osteoporosis, a condition where the bones become porous and weak, affects an estimated 200 million people worldwide. Dr. Fuhrman provides his perspective on this disease and how to prevent it.
We're given information to think that milk protects us against osteoporosis, and taking calcium protects us against osteoporosis. And it's really more a vitamin D issue and an exercise issue, not a milk or a calcium issue. People who take calcium through milk and eat a lot of animal products, the acid production and the acids being secreted by the digestive tract, which is caused by all the high-protein animal products, that high protein causes more pressure on the kidney, and the acid causes more calcium to be leached out of the bones, and we lose much more calcium in the urine from the diet high in animal protein. So we lose too much calcium if our diet is too high in animal protein. We need some calcium in the diet, but we need much more vitamin D, much more of those other nutrients found in green vegetables, because green vegetables and sesame seeds are also high in calcium, but they also have vitamin K and other phytochemicals that are important for your bone health. So the main messages here is that don't rely on medications for osteoporosis. Don't think calcium is enough. And don't think drinking milk is going to protect you. It's not. We have to exercise vigorously. We have to hop and jump and bend and do things to use our bones and keep our legs and our back strong. And we have to have sufficient vitamin D. And we have green vegetables and nuts and seeds. And that's the formula for maximum protection against osteoporosis. When the cells are growing and multiplying and dividing, they're more susceptible to the dangers of being hurt by toxic food and by poisons and chemicals. So for example, a child who you're taking to fast food restaurants and living on French fries and burgers and chips and soda, you're hurting your child. You're going to potentially increase your child's risk of cancer down the road. We have to feed children a diet of fruits and vegetables and beans and berries and seeds and very clean foods when their body is multiplying. Now, if you're an adult and you've been raised on that poor diet, you can still reduce your risk significantly. You just have to do a better job now. Eat lots of these high nutrient foods so the body has the full potential for protection. If you go from eating unhealthy to eating very healthily, you're not going to feel better right away. You could feel worse because your body starts detoxifying. You could feel really fatigued and weak and a little itchy and sometimes a little feverish. But don't worry, it only lasts a short time. The more information people learn, the more they become the expert, the more they read this information, the more they study it, the more they understand it. It makes the change easier, and it makes them deal with a temporary phase of being uncomfortable. It goes away pretty quickly. They know from the understanding of this literature how much better they're going to feel in a few weeks. And then they find, wow, I'm not tired. I don't wake up having to take a cup of coffee to get myself going in the morning. I already feel fully energized when I wake up. You can enjoy your life more.
We salute Dr. Joel Fuhrman for spreading hope and health by promoting nutritious, delicious plant-based foods. May the whole world soon follow an organic, vegan diet to attain robust health and a brighter future for our planet.